Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about the Imperial Range Troopers that are soon to be coming for Star Wars Legion. This is a whole new unit that was spoiled at Mini Stravaganza on a painting stream of all places, eventually shown a little bit more during the next panel the following day where they did the Legion roadmap. We know still surprisingly little about the Imperial Range Troopers, but we're going to talk about what we do know. They are not coming out this year, though. They're supposed to be coming out early next year, so we'll probably be on the lookout for these around January or February, thereabouts, maybe, hopefully. Of course, you know, a lot of people are saying the Empire doesn't need a whole lot of new stuff because they've already got so much new stuff. However, these guys are awfully cool, and it's cool to see new types of stormtroopers, especially something from Solo, a Star Wars story, actually show up. And I think a lot of people are thinking, hey, what's on the other end of this release? Are we also going to see Enfys Nest and Marauders? A lot of people are expecting to see that also. But and this could be a good first step towards getting very cool stuff, because there's a lot of stuff in Solo that works well with Legion, and so I think it's super exciting to see these guys show up. We have a lot to talk about with these guys, though. If you guys are new here to the channel, we are doing a big $100 giveaway right now. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. That's running through Halloween, so you have time before, plenty of time left to enter to win that. I'll be announcing the winner after Halloween towards the end of one of my videos, so make sure you watch all the way to the end. Also want to thank today's sponsor, Luxury Playstyle. Folks, these are amazing tokens. Head over to luxuryplaystyle.com and check out these tokens. They have a whole line of compatible tokens for Star Wars Legion. These are gorgeous. They're double-sided, metallic, shiny, gorgeous. The suppressions have 2s on the back, so you start lathering up that suppression. You flip them over. You've got your aims and your standbys. Double-sided tokens. You've got surge and dodge, double-sided. You got damage tokens with 2s on the back. If you want a 5 damage token too, absolutely free with the Crabbok lightsaber nunchucks on the other side, you got to use that code, spend $35 or more in there. You're gonna, while supplies last, people who use that code are gonna get a free Crabbok lightsaber nunchuck token. Head over to luxuryplaystyle.com, check them out. All right, so here's what we do know. They called these guys the Empire's Elite. When they were doing their painting stream, we got this little silhouette. It was supposed to be a little bit of a mystery, and Will Schick said to answer like questions like, "Hey, these guys are a new core? They're kind of like stormtroopers. Are they going to be a new core? How's that all going to work?" So he did say that a unit that's called the Empire's Elite doesn't sound much like a core unit to me, and so granted, that's not saying specifically that they're not core, but it does beg a lot of questions. What exactly are they? And a lot came out during Mini Stravaganza to suggest that they would be core. What I'm talking about is that the Separatists have, their new core option. The Geonosians are not just mercs; they're a Separatist core unit, which the Geonosian warriors are, which is really cool to see a whole new, to see new core units show up, because I think the game has been saturated with special forces. Inundated with there's so many special forces, and you can only take 3 typically, so I just feel like we got way more special forces than we have core. The Empire already has twice as many special forces units as they have core units, so it's just kind of crazy to me, from a certain point of view, at least. I mean, if you're counting the strike teams and stuff like that, because you can run the scout troopers, as a strike team, so it's kind of a different unit, But you've only got the 3 core. I mean, I don't know, I'm not counting mercs. I guess mercs kind of work, but they don't fill the criteria. And you've got so many different types of stormtroopers. There's so many options. So many different types of troopers. You get those mud troopers that were also in Solo. Hopefully they'll show up. The Imperial Army troopers. So there's a lot. There's plenty more to do. But maybe these guys won't count as core. But if they're just going to be another special forces, I feel like well, what are they going to give us that other special forces don't? Now, granted, I don't necessarily require them to be something new. They could just be, uh, a normal, decent, appropriately costed, somewhat maneuverable, kind of moderately to good firepower special forces unit. Whatever. That would be fine with me because I think they look cool and I like just getting more units. But AMG has said in the past that they don't want to make stuff for a game just because they're going to add something more. Like Will Schick was talking about Star Wars Armada, and it says something like, "Well, we could make more ships, but what could we add that the game really needs? So we're not in a position to make meaningful content because they want to make meaningful content." Now, depending on what you may say about that, I feel like sometimes they still just make stuff because it's cool and not necessarily because the game really needed a piece that could move fast and shoot with black dice instead of red or whatever. Sometimes you just make stuff because it's cool. And I feel like this is probably a unit that's coming into the game just because they're cool. Again, we don't know. We don't have a whole lot of mechanics about these guys. But we did see this, which was a 6-unit silhouette, or a 6 miniature silhouette, which is a little bit consistent with Special Forces. Typically, Special Forces will have 3 or 4 units and then a heavy. Most Special Forces typically have 4 and a heavy option. And usually, a lot of times there's more than one heavy option. So that kind of seemed like, okay, that could work. Until we got this next picture unveiled during the actual Legion roadmap, which gave us 7 miniatures. Now, you typically don't get 7 miniatures in a box of Special Forces. What you do typically get is 7 miniatures in a box of core. This had me thinking, no, these are actually core. Maybe Will was trying to mislead us. Maybe Will was saying, I don't think guys called the Empire's Elite would be core, but that's just me, because that's kind of, he said that, but that's just me kind of, being old school or something. His remarks were something like that. Now, I don't feel like he would have said that if they were core. So I feel like, realistically, there's got to be something different about these guys. I don't think that they're a Special Forces, at least a standard Special Forces, but they could be more of a hybrid. For example, they could be a Special Forces that has the option to take a personnel slot. After all, with the Dark Troopers, we did see that the Imperial Dark Troopers can take a personnel slot. So, and granted, they're a heavy, they're not a Special Forces, but they're kind of like Special Forces, right? Kind of, in some ways. And that they're not core, at least. So that is a possibility. They could be a Special Forces that has a personnel slot. It's the idea is not completely unfounded, but yeah, that would fit the picture. That is a possibility. Then again, he could have lied, and they could simply be core. After all, we do see a leader. We see 3 other troopers, and then an extra trooper for a personnel upgrade. We see 2 heavy options. What we see here is completely matching up to what we would expect from a core option, from a core box. Very, very likely, especially all of these. We see 5 of the same gun, so, if it's a core, this would fit the bill. What is possible is that maybe it's a hybrid in that it might, fulfill a core rank and a Special Forces rank. Maybe it's maybe some kind of multi-ranked unit. In that they're elite, they're gonna fill, they're gonna count as a core, and they're also gonna, maybe you have your rank symbol on the card. You're gonna have 2 ranks, core and Special Forces, because these guys fulfill both requirements and count as one of each. In other words, limiting you to only 5 other core and only 2 other Special Forces. Pending normal rules. That would be interesting. I think something like that could be possible, allowing them to be a core and also be more than a core. I think that would be kind of cool, and that would be something new and fresh that we haven't seen. I don't think we've seen any unit in the game, right, that takes up multiple ranks. So that could be a thing. That could be a thing. That could be very fun. Another option is that they're an entirely different unit. Now, I don't see these guys as being heavy, but it could be possible to have something like this as a support. Now, I don't really think that that's likely, but I'm just saying it could be possible that they're filling a rank outside of the box. Another option is maybe they're coming into the game as an operative rank. Again, I don't really see that being the case, but I think is more likely than support, at least. Operative would allow you to run 2 of these units. Now, they are supposed to be elite, so you shouldn't have that many, and it'd be a way to say, hey, here's a really powerful unit, you can only run 2 of them. And I think that could theoretically work, and would also open the door for them to do a lot more with the operative rank. Now, if they are operative, that would kind of open the door for bigger stormtrooper, like troop heavy lists, but it would also match with what the Inquisitors have going on for them right now, in that the new Inquisitors can kind of share, basically you can run both of them and only consume one of your 2 operative rank slots. And if these guys were actually ranked as operative, then that would give meaning to why the Inquisitors, because realistically there's not a whole lot of use cases where you want to run 2 Inquisitors and another operative. There are some for sure, but it's not like that wasn't a need that I thought needed to be filled, because if I just ran 2 Inquisitors and that was my 2 operative slots, that would have been fine. I didn't see like I really need to run 2 Inquisitors and IG-11. Granted, I think that'd be good, but it wasn't like a huge thing. If these guys are operatives, then suddenly now that makes more sense. Not to say that you would have to run them with Inquisitors, because you could also leave the Inquisitors to the side and run 2 of these guys. So again, lots of different options on what they may or may not be. Definitely can't wait to find out. I think as we get closer towards the end of the year, I think we're going to see more previews of these guys. It might not be until December. Usually a whole lot of new products aren't announced in December, and what ends up happening in December is we get a lot of spoilers for stuff that's coming out in the next year, a lot of card previews, a lot of the stuff that they have all ready to go that they can just know, like, oh yeah, don't forget, all this stuff is coming. Save some of your holiday money because you're going to be buying up all this new product in January and February. That's kind of how Asmodee FFG used to do it, how AMG has been doing it. That's kind of my prediction, is we're going to see massive spoilers for these guys in either November or December, around holiday time. That's my guess. Also, they're snowy, right? So they feel appropriate to like go up for pre-order in December. It'd be kind of cool. But let's talk about a little bit more about what we see here. Again, we're seeing 5 troops with with their range trooper weapon. Not sure exactly what nomenclature that rifle is, but this is their standard rifle. You see 2 heavy weapon options. Now, it does look like a DLT, and it also looks like we've got a T-21. Let's zoom in a little bit more here. This guy looks like he's got a T-21, possibly. And then the other guy looks like he's holding a DLT, but I don't think he's got a regular Stormtrooper DLT. Looks like it's a DLT-1 or a DLT-A. DLT-20A is what I'm thinking. If you look at like some of the card art, and if you look at the Stormtroopers art for DLTs, it doesn't look exactly like that. But if you jump to the Rebel Trooper Heavy that's holding the DLT-20A, it looks a little bit more like that style of weapon. So I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up being it. If it's like a critical 1 range 4 weapon, it's 2 black and 1 white, for the DLT-20A for the Rebel Trooper, and that wouldn't be a bad heavy. That wouldn't be a bad heavy. If I wonder if they're gonna have surge to hit. Well, how good will critical 1 be in their dice pool? Maybe they'll be like a Stormtroopers that have Pierce built in or something like that. We haven't seen a whole lot of core or heavy trooper units that have Pierce like built into their main guns and stuff like that. So I don't know. There's different options. I'm not sure if it'll be that. Now the T-21 is just a range 3 weapon, but has more dice. If you compare it to the Stormtroopers T-21, that one is 4 white with critical 2. And range 1 to 3. Now these may not be exactly the same as what we've seen. This could be a T-21 X-ray or a T-21 Bravo or something like that. Might have some different things. Might have ion, might have suppressive, something like that. But typically, out of your two heavy weapon options, you have one that's a little bit more anti-personnel and one that's a little bit more anti-vehicle. That tends to be the case. I imagine we'll see either critical or impact on at least one of them. So, but that's just based on going off of current in-game trends. Now, I also want to address something. Let me back up a little bit to this photo here. AMG has in the past had some errors with some of their imagery. One notable case, and so has FFG, has had errors too. But one notable case was the swoop bikes that were filmed with and everything with like a really large base, and then when the time finally came, it's like, oh, their base is actually smaller. That wasn't the base. Even on the box, the base that's on the box is not the base that's in the box. So, you know, there have been plenty of mistakes before, and there's definitely a change between this image here that's showing 6 miniatures, and then this image here that they gave us the next day, which is showing 7 miniatures. So we don't actually know how many miniatures come in the box. Some people have noted that these two guys are the same sculpt, which is reasonable. However, AMG has done that before. There's a lot of times where there'll be a sprue that has like 2 of the same guys. So that sort of thing happens. If you look at the heavies, for example, they're both the same sculpt. They're just holding different weapons. Everything about them is the same except for the gun. You'll probably get 2 heavies. You'll probably get 2, but it's possible you might only get 1 and have to choose which gun to build. Although I don't really see them doing that. I think you'll get 2. I don't know. It is tough to say exactly, but it is also possible that this image was a mistake, and maybe this guy right here is just a copy and paste of this guy, because if you look very closely, they are identical, folks. Let's jump to a zoom of these guys. They're absolutely identical to the positioning of where the cloak kind of comes down and impacts the knee is exactly like they've been turned. It's definitely a copy paste. The basing is identical down to like the little rock right here. None of the other miniatures have the same basing. They're all done by hand. So this is definitely a copy paste of that one. Now, is it an accidental copy paste? Or was it we have 6 on the first graphic, we need to have 7 on there. Hey, let's go ahead and copy and paste this one guy and put him back up there so we can get 7 on the next graphic. I don't know which one is accurate. I don't know if we're getting 7 miniatures or if we're getting 6 miniatures. Or if it's something different like, well, you're actually getting 5 miniatures, but the different build options are going to give you 7 possible guys or something like that. I don't know what exactly is going to happen with these range troopers, but regardless of all that, I've told you a whole lot about what we don't know. What I can say is they look really cool. I love the boots. In solo, these guys had magnetized boots. They were built for mountainous climates. They were guarding the train in solo, so they were able to, like, they could walk upside down. They could traverse. I mean, this might be coming out with some new rules dealing with like scale getting changed or something like that. I could see them kind of, coming into the game with maybe mag boots as an upgrade that gives them something cool, gives them some better mobility. Maybe they're immune from being pushed or when you get shot with Dooku's lightning and then he gets to scatter your unit. Maybe they ignore anything that would move them. Maybe they're immune from a unit flying overrun attacks, or something like that. That maybe they're immune from being displaced, right? So that's possibly something that they might have. I don't know how strong that would really be in the game, or if it's something that really is needed. But then again, with the Wookiee battle force being announced, and vehicles that are trying to fly through you and do overrun attacks, and there's some displacement. There's some on-purpose displacement that happens with that. Although I think with the Rata NASP, you only get the displacement off the compulsory move. But still, I mean, that would be a lot easier to do that when you can adjust your speed with the Wookiee battle force stuff. So again, if we look at what's coming around when these guys are coming, what was announced at Mini Stravaganza, it begins to paint a little bit of a picture of what we can expect from the range troopers. Could they be an operative rank, or are they just going to be another special forces? And I feel like I kind of hope that they're not just another special forces, which means they almost certainly will be. If I had to bet money, I would bet money that they're going to be special forces. I just really don't want them to be, because I like the idea of them of having an operative unit that's like, if they're elite, I can only have like 2 of them at max. Like that's kind of cool. Now, granted, they could make them special forces and put 2 dots on them all of a sudden. Hey, now they're elite. You could do that. But it makes more sense to make them operatives, because then it opens the door for you to say, hey, here's a battle force, a mountain range battle force, and now you can run 4 of them, right? And that's, I feel like that's more and more of a thing that they're going to start doing a lot more of, coming up with new battle forces in different ways for you to run more of older units, especially with all of the new reprints that are planned throughout the long-term future of Legion, with trying to do all of the old stuff in hard plastic now. I think that battle forces are definitely the future. If a lot of their effort is going to be on recreating older stuff in newer plastic, then a lot of the new content for people who already have that stuff will be in battle forces. So granted, there's still plenty of new stuff coming. They've definitely talked about new units, and we'll continue to talk about those as time goes by. So definitely hope you guys stick around. But I really feel like there's a lot of opportunities for these guys, and I think it'd be super cool if they were either an operative rank or some kind of hybrid rank where they are core but also count as special forces or something like that. Like, that would be cool, and it'd be a way for like Will Schick's kind of sly comments to be accurate but also not the full story, which is always kind of a cool hidden truth, you know what I mean? So I guess we'll have to wait and see, but I'm pretty excited for them. I think these guys look incredibly cool and will look really good with my Empire units that are all based on snowy bases already. So I'm thrilled to get these guys. Can't wait for them to come out. And of course, when they do come out, I'll be doing unboxings, and of course I'll be talking about the spoilers and all that stuff when they do get their previews and their unit cards and any special tech they come with and all of that good stuff. That is going to do it, guys. But my last question for you today is, if they ended up making these guys an operative, do you think that they would also potentially get command cards? I don't think so, but I want to hear what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments section. And also, if you guys haven't already, check out our Discord and all the other links that we have down in the video description. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are superstars and help make this channel continue. Thank you so much for your continued support. If you're interested in Patreon, getting your name in the credits, or any of this other stuff, check the links in the description below. I will talk to you later. May the Force be with you. Have a fantastic day.